most of the fats come from carbohydrates. I want you to understand that, because anytime you eat a carbohydrate-rich diet, you're either going to use it as energy, you're going to store it as glycogen temporarily in the liver, or you're going to convert it to fat and pump it into the fat cells. Now understand, what is going into the fat cells is no longer carbohydrates, now fats. Okay, so you can burn that fat to get glucose, or you can burn that fat to get the healthiest sources of energy that are called the ketone bodies. Most of you have been brainwashed to think ketones are a problem because of people who have been diagnosed with diabetes. People who have diabetes, they experience a very big emergency that is called DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. Now, that is not the same to somebody who is not diabetic. You see, the name is diabetic. It's actually a diabetic or a diabetes emergency. So you must be diabetic to get to diabetic ketoacidosis. The word is diabetic ketoacidosis. You just see it and you know it. So in diabetic ketoacidosis, you have high glucose in your system. You are unable to utilize it. And then now your body thinks you're starving. So now it turns to fat again to burn the fat to give you ketone bodies. And ketone bodies are acidic, so they lower the pH of blood. So now you have both high glucose and you have high ketones in the system. Two energies that you are not able to utilize. That is an emergency. On the other side, you are fasting, so you're not consuming carbohydrates. When you're not consuming carbohydrates, you end up, your body turns to the fat cells to burn them to give you either glucose or to give you ketone bodies. Now, when it gives you glucose, very minimal glucose to just maintain the blood glucose levels, the rest is actually converted to ketone bodies. That's what we call ketogenesis or ketosis. So you don't have energy, and now your body turns to anything there in the fats to burn it to give you energy. Beyond that, we move to autophagy, where now we are cleaning the cell. All the debris, the organelles that are dead in the cell, we burn them to get healthy energy. That is now autophagy. Okay, and that's where cancer people start to benefit. Those people who have autoimmune conditions start to benefit. So fats are very essential. They are part of the macronutrients. Remember, we have the carbohydrates, which most of you consume, and you think that these are the best energy sources. So you consume carbohydrates all the time, and you've been brainwashed to think that because carbohydrates are energy giving, it was put in the syllabus. So now carbohydrates are energy giving. Now you think anytime you need energy, you have to eat a carbohydrate. No wonder in the gyms you're taking energy drinks, which are just sugars. No wonder anytime you feel low energy, you're taking tea, which has sugar. So sugar is carbohydrate, and also milk is carbohydrate. And then you're taking with a snack. And then after that, you start feeling so good. You feel comfortable about it, and you feel, now I have achieved a goal. You're lying to yourself. You're actually giving yourself a reward of feeling good through producing a hormone that is called dopamine. That hormone is the one that is keeping you addicted to foods. So when you start fasting, you reset the dopamine receptors, you reset your addictions. Once you reset your addictions, it becomes easier for you to now taste food in the natural states, and you start to realize food is not as important as you think it is, specifically carbohydrates. Now, we have carbohydrates, and then we have the protein, and then we have now the fats. On the protein, most of us have been convinced to eat lean protein. Why? Because if you eat fatty protein, you will end up clogging your arteries. This is a channel that is going to actually help you unlearn that statement. Eating lean protein can actually gain you weight for a reason. When you eat lean protein, proteins are broken down to amino acids. So you'll chop them down to amino acids, and you will absorb amino acids. When you absorb amino acids, some of these amino acids will be used to form hormones and neurotransmitters for your regulation, for your body functioning. Excess of these amino acids, or some of these amino acids, will be pumped into the muscles to form structural proteins that will be used to repair your muscles and bodybuilding. Excess of those amino acids, the liver will not waste them. The body will not waste it, because the body does not understand the language of wasting. It knows in future there will be a problem. So I have to store this. So what does the body do? The body will convert these excess amino acids into glucose and then into fats to be stored in fat cells for a rainy day. So as much as you want to tell me that fats are dangerous, just understand that eating lean protein is actually dangerous to you more than eating fatty meats. Fats will help you regulate appetite. Fats will make you not to overeat the protein, and you will not get excess amino acids. But if you're eating lean meat, you get excess amino acids, you're ending up getting the glucose. When you get the glucose, what is happening? You're going to spike insulin. You're going to convert glucose into fats. You store it into the fat cells. That's why people will blame meat for adding weight instead of blaming lean meat for adding weight, because meat can actually add you weight if it's lean and not fatty meats. Okay, so protein, lean protein, and is in the syllabus again. Eat lean meat, avoid fatty meats. You've been avoiding fatty meats for all this time. Have you gotten better? Are you out of that prescription for hypertension? Are you out of that room that they do dialysis on you? Are you out of the diabetic drugs? No, because you're eating lean meat and the system just lied to you. They want to maintain you as a client or as a customer. So they'll do everything to make sure that you are their customer for a lifetime. And trust me, if I am a pharmacist and I have 10 diabetic clients or 10 hypertensive clients, I am paying my bills successfully. I am paying the bills. So all of us are out here to make sure that we pay bills. Okay? And that's why nowadays pharmacists are legal drug lords. So they sell drugs, they don't dispense anymore. They sell drugs. So they are legal drug lords. They just sell drugs. And the side effects come to you. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Now we move swiftly to the fats. Fats, one, they are very necessary for you. Why? Because per gram of fat, when you burn 1 gram of fat, you will get double the energy that is coming from carbohydrates and protein. So imagine this. 1 gram of carbohydrate will give you 4 calories of energy. So is protein. Protein is giving you 4. But 1 gram of fat is going to give you 9. So even if you combine 1 gram of carbohydrate and 1 of protein, you are still not matching the energy that is coming from the fat cells. So please tell me, which one among the three is actually energy giving? Please tell me. Maybe I'm the one who sees it wrong. If you're burning 1 gram of fat and 1 gram of carbohydrate, which one to you is the energy giving? And because the system has lied to you that carbohydrates are energy giving, simply put behind your mind that is a marketing strategy from the food industry. Because anytime you walk into that supermarket, everything that you're seeing on those supermarket shelves is actually carbohydrates. If it's not a carbohydrate, it has been topped out with sugar, the fructose, so that you get addicted to it. And now, when you drink that energy drink in the gym, you start feeling, oh, I have a lot of energy. This is a lot of energy. Okay, you're lifting heavy, but by the time you're pumping the second lift, you're in the mirror taking videos. Because you're even tired already. You want another sip to just spike your dopamine so that you feel good. And I will ask you this for free. How many of you eat fruits because they are healthy? This question, everybody answers, I do eat fruits because they are healthy. And then I ask the second question. If I do away with the fructose or the sugar from that banana, will you eat it? If I remove, thank you so much, Selo. Oh, amazing. If I remove sugar from that pineapple, will you eat it? Will you? How many of you eat fruits because they have vitamins? Versus how many of you eat fruits because they have sugar? How many of you? How many of you can go into the gym and lift a whole about an hour and get out just on water and salt? You go to the gym, everybody's shaking a protein shake, everybody's drinking an energy drink, everybody's eating bananas in the gym, and they think bananas are going to give them energy. That energy cannot come from the stomach. Energy comes from the fat cells. So even if you eat that banana now, there's no energy that is going to come from that stomach to give you energy to pump the weight. So when your gym trainer tells you to eat bananas to get energy and to grow big, please tell him, hey, I'm here to lead a healthy life. I'm not here to be fat. Tell them outright. So all of you, or most of you, will eat fruits because they have sugar. They will not eat fruits because no. So anyway, fats are the only macromolecule or macronutrient that cannot spike insulin. Remember, glucose, which is from the carbohydrate, will spike insulin. Fructose, which is a carbohydrate, will later on give you an insulin spike. It doesn't cause an instant spike because fructose is not glucose, so it will not cause a spike in insulin. Maybe that's the reason why it fools doctors and nutritionists that it's healthy. But later on, to give you a fatty liver, that will cause you insulin resistance. Therefore, insulin levels will still be up in blood. So on a later stage, it will give you a spike in insulin. But fats, okay, protein will also cause you a spike in insulin as long as they are lean proteins, because we'll convert them to glucose and will spike the insulin. But fats do not cause a spike in insulin. This is where people who have weight start to benefit from. Because when you're obese or you're overweight and you want to lose fat, it is necessary that you eat fatty foods. Because that hormone called insulin, its first role is to prevent you from burning fat to get energy. Its first role is not to pump glucose from blood into the fat cells. No. It's not even to lower blood sugars. No. The first role of insulin is to make sure that any other energy source, including the fats, is blocked from being burned so that you can only rely on what you're eating, on the glucose, and then pump it into the fat cell. So it's actually called an anti-lipolytic agent. Anti-lipolytic, it means it is against lipolysis. Lipolysis means fat burning. So if it's an anti-lipolytic agent, it prevents you from burning fat. So you keep on growing big. So anytime you spike your insulin levels, you keep on adding weight. And anytime you bring your insulin levels down, you start burning what you've stored. Because the body is not stupid. The body was storing glucose in those fat cells so that you can burn it and use it for energy when it's a rainy day. But most of you eat all the time, so you never find a chance to burn what you've stored, right? And that is a problem. Once you've understood that, you will know. If you want to lose weight, you'll eat foods that will actually maintain insulin at low or even lower it further. And then you start burning the stores and you empty the fat cells. So therefore, fat, you need fat to burn fat. So that person who tells you that if you eat eggs, you'll grow fat, that if you eat fatty meats, you'll grow fat, look at them straight in the eye and tell them to explain to you what do they mean. Because in their heads, the system has lied to them that when you're eating fats, these fats are going to be carried all the way to the fat cells and they just add you weight. They just add you weight. Fats will help you lose weight. Trust me. And we'll talk about the types of these fats so that you don't confuse the oils and the fats, okay? Good. So why do we need fats anyway? One, we need fats to lose weight, right? So to maintain a healthy weight. That is one reason for eating fats, or the fatty meats, or the fatty foods, or the saturated fats, the ghee, the tallow, the coconut oils, and all that. Number two, that fat is supposed to give you cholesterol. And before you even get to cholesterol, fats will help you absorb vitamins. They are called fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Most of you call them ADEK, others call them DECA. These are the fat-soluble vitamins, so you cannot absorb them without the fats. So when you're eating a sukuma wiki with lean protein, you're wasting time. And then that meat has been cooked in seed oils. It's a waste of that vegetable. When you're eating your vegetables without having to maybe top dress them with extra virgin olive oil, you're wasting time. You're wasting those vegetables. You'll end up getting constipation because they will overfeed the gut microorganisms and you will end up having the constipation. Then of course your doctor will come in and tell you, drink a lot of water, as though water will just move from your mouth all the way to the rectum to dilute stool and now you have a diarrhea. It's a lie. So anytime you're being told to take a lot of water and without salt to help you clear constipation, you're being lied to. You will absorb that water. That water will not go into the rectum. You will absorb that water into the system. And then you end up urinating that water and become more dehydrated. So therefore more constipation. Amazing. Okay, so fats, energy. Also, yeah, number three is energy. Fats will give you energy. Just the same way we say it. 1 gram of fat gives you 9 calories of energy. Amazing, right? And then fats are actually going to contribute to you getting hormones, because remember, there are hormones that actually come from cholesterol. We have the sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. They are all coming from cholesterol. Therefore, if you don't have fats or if you don't have cholesterol in your system, you're going to get deficiencies of these hormones. Therefore, hormonal imbalance in women, and therefore erectile dysfunction in men. And when you start hearing those words, you start knowing that these are the side effects of lipid or cholesterol lowering drugs. We also have muscles. Your muscles and your cells are actually made up of cholesterol, which is basically fat. Your cells are covered by a lipid bilayer. That is fats. That is cholesterol. So if you have low cholesterol or low fats, what is going to happen? The end result will be muscle wasting. The end result will be cells rupturing. On the other hand, vitamin D, not only will it be absorbed through eating fats, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, vitamin D is also called cholecalciferol. That tells you it comes from cholesterol. It's actually cholesterol. So the cholesterol that is under your skin is the one that is actually a storage form of vitamin D. So what does it do? When you get exposure from the sun, you get exposed to the sun, what is going to happen is you're going to convert this cholesterol in your skin to inactive vitamin D. When you convert it to inactive vitamin D, that vitamin D which is inactive will be carried to your liver for further activation. And then that vitamin D from the liver that is half fully activated will be now be ferried to the kidneys for final activation. So therefore, for you to get a high immunity or for you to get active vitamin D, one, you need cholesterol, which is fats. Number two, you need functional liver. So if you have a fatty liver, of course, your immunity goes down. Number three, you will need a functional kidney. So if you're consuming a lot of sugar, forget about vitamin D. You will end up into vitamin D deficiency. That's why you are on supplements for vitamin D. Do you see the connection? Amazing, right? Yes. So you need these things to understand. So hormones are actually coming from, and vitamin D is actually another hormone. So they're actually coming from cholesterol in the fats. So absorption of vitamin A, D, E, and K, vitamin D synthesis. What else? Also, fats are actually used to synthesize bile. Bile is that substance that is produced in the liver and then stored in the gallbladder. Some of you don't have gallbladders. They've been chopped off because of cholesterol gallstones or estrogen related gallstones. This is the reality. For you to make bile, you need cholesterol, which is fats. That also tells you see, this bile is coming in to help you to digest or to sequester fats in the small intestine so that you can absorb the fats and the fat-soluble vitamins. So without bile, it's hard for you to actually absorb the fat-soluble vitamins and also absorb the fats. And now fats is being used to form bile, so which means you need fat to absorb fat. Fat will be used to form bile, which will help you to absorb and digest fat. And the same fat is actually going to give you the benefits of absorbing fat-soluble vitamins. So you cannot do without the cholesterol. Don't be lied to. It's very important for you. Again, your brain is cushioned by cholesterol. Again, your nerves are covered by a small layer a thin layer that is called the myelin sheath. That myelin sheath is actually cholesterol. And you know very well that those nerves that are covered by that insulator are the ones that transmit impulses faster. Okay, they transmit impulses faster. So if you don't have cholesterol, most of your nerves are non-myelinated and therefore low impulse transmission. So how can we do without fats? How? How can we even start approaching a weight loss journey without eating fats? Do you see the benefits of fats? So when somebody comes to you and tells you cholesterol is a problem, start telling them, hey, where? So start eating fats because these are the function of the fats. And we've not even gotten into the metabolism. We're just talking about the functions only. But before I even forget, there's another hormone that is called the prostaglandins. Ladies, prostaglandins, PGs, these are very important for your menstrual cycle. Because remember, for that contraction of the uterus to happen so that you slow off the already worn out, what do you call it? The already worn out endometrium, the inside part of the uterus, so that you get the menses. You need those hormones that are called prostaglandins that stimulate the contraction of the uterus. Guess where they're coming from? Hello? These same hormones, the prostaglandins, are the ones that are supposed to actually maintain or actually pump out the baby when you're going to give birth. Imagine that. That's why those drugs that are used for abortion, the misoprostol, the mifepristone, these are drugs that are actually prostaglandin analogs. They behave as the same prostaglandins that you produce naturally. So they activate prostaglandin receptors so that they contract the uterus and you pump out. Okay? So they are very important. So imagine that. Again, another hormone that is called aldosterone. You see, on top of your kidneys, there is a gland called the adrenal gland. A small gland on the top of the kidneys. That gland produces adrenal hormones, the adrenaline, norepinephrine, and all that. But most importantly, produces two other hormones. One is aldosterone. Aldosterone is a hormone that tells the kidneys, hey, the blood pressure is going up, please urinate more. When you urinate more, the blood volume falls, the blood pressure falls. When the blood pressure is going lower, this same hormone tells the kidneys, it's now time for you to reabsorb back the salts, reabsorb back water so that the blood volume goes up and then blood pressure goes up. Amazing. Which means cholesterol is actually involved in regulation of blood pressure. But what does the system tell you? That cholesterol is going to clog your arteries and cause you hypertension, right? Hey. I don't know. Sometimes I go through the syllabus nowadays and I just like, Really, did we have to go through this? All this? I believe we totally crammed just pass the exam to get the qualification. People just crammed to just make sure they have a 50, because in medicine, as long as you get a 50, you're good to go. 50 only, you just want a 50. Some of you got 49 and you just pulled. They added you 2 marks so that you just get over the line, so that you can easily graduate. And now you're on the podium, you are raising your hand, and the oath, you're reading the oath as a group. The Hippocratic oath. And then everybody's clapping for you, because medical students, these are the stars. These are the ones who are going to change the lives in the future. But look at them, finding it difficult to comprehend small concepts in biochemistry. It is there that aldosterone is a steroid hormone. Steroids come from cholesterol. Same to sex hormones. Same to another hormone that is produced by the same adrenal gland that is called cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. Stress hormone. How will you handle stress internally and even externally without cholesterol? The fats. How? No wonder you're avoiding that fatty meat and you still have that arthritis. And now guess what? You go to hospital and somebody injects you Diprofos injection in your knees, a steroid injection in your knees, because your internal production of steroids is zero, is messed up. So your adrenals are actually shutting down. And the more I inject you with an external steroid, the more I shut down the adrenal glands. Imagine that. So the more I inject you with the steroid injection, I'm masking symptoms. I'm actually allowing arthritis to survive from within. Somebody's telling you avoid red meat, avoid all these things, but nobody's telling you to avoid wheat. Nobody's telling you to avoid inflammatory seed oils. Nobody's telling you to avoid sugar. That is actually killing the adrenals, which will make it difficult for the adrenals to produce enough cortisol that will suppress inflammation, that will suppress autoimmune conditions, that will suppress stress levels. So they don't want you to do that naturally. They want you to actually fail naturally so that they can produce or give you now a synthetic steroid. That is business. So that they can now give you supplements. When they give you a synthetic steroid, and then they give you collagen supplements for your joints, instead of telling you to eat red meat and fatty meats to avoid all these problems, they will rather tell you not to eat meat, but they'll print meat still. They'll give you printed meat. So they tell you to avoid red meat, and then they bring to you sausages. How many of you are not eating red meat, but they are busy eating sausages for breakfast? Red meat is nimbaya. And then you're eating sausages every morning. Now, most of you are blaming red meat, yet you go in a pub or in a club and you order a half kg of meat, you eat it, and then you dress it with alcohol. Now you're blaming red meat, but defending alcohol. Hello? So now alcohol is better than red meat. As long as you take it in moderation. But do not eat red meat. Don't even moderate. Stay away from red meat. But drink alcohol in moderation. And then you're expecting your arthritis to go away. You're expecting your fatty liver to go away. You're joking. When you come to me and you ask me, Daktari, I take whiskey or a wine, because wine is good for the stomach. The Bible says wine is good for the stomach. I'm like, okay. Choose you. Do you want to drink the wine, or do you want to get healthier? Choose you. Alcohol is alcohol, just the same way sugar is sugar, regardless of the source.